What is up, fellow humans of the cardboard? Welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today I am so pumped. This is incredible news. We have reveals for Penguin support in Burst of Destiny. We also have another Penguin card in Animation Chronicle, and I think the other last card or two from Animation Chronicle as well. So we'll finish up that set and talk about the Penguin stuff. So let's start off with the Animation Chronicle stuff. We'll start from the bottom and work our way up. We have Toy Parade starting us off here. This is what, Bonaparte? Isn't that his name? The guy from Crowler's best friend, the short French guy from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, whatever. This card is always treated as a Fright for card. Never mind. Okay, you can only use the first one effect of the first and second effects of this card once per turn. One effect. Okay, so you have to pick one or the other. The first effect reads: target one dark monster you control that was special summoned from the extra deck as cost. This turn, you can only declare attacks with that monster. Also, each time it destroys a card, destroys a monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, it can attack again in a row. Okay. And the second effect, if you control a fairy monster, you can banish this card from your graveyard to add a level 4 lower dark monster from your graveyard to your hand. Okay, I think like all things considered, I'm not too crazy about this one. I just think like the on-field effect like is fine, but as we've seen, it seems now that the best Fright for builds want to go first and set up like a scythe lock, like a searchable scythe lock. And do that kind of shenanigans. So the first effect giving you the ability to OTK is not really that good. It is a Fright for card, so I believe that does make it searchable in the archetype, which is nice. So maybe as a one of, or the deck always seems to be pretty good just because of Toy Vendor, right? Being part of the strategy, pretty good at sending your own like spells and traps to grave. So maybe that could work with just this graveyard effect to get an add back for extra fusion material or whatever. It's just getting a dark monster back to hand, which is pretty dang good. You just have to have a fairy on field. So it's interesting, but I don't think it's like game breaking for the like fluffle Fright for strategy. So fine, but nothing crazy. Okay. Moving on here, we have Summon Storm. I saw this artwork and I was so pumped because I thought it was ninja support, and let's just get reading. All right. It's a normal spell. You can only activate the second effect once per turn. First effect says pay 800 life points, special summon a level 6 or lower wind monster from the hand. Okay, and the second effect, during your main phase, except the turn this was sent to the grave, you can banish this card from grave to special summon a level 4 or lower wind from the hand. So just kind of fine, like, you know what I mean? This almost gives me just double summon vibes, just extra payoff later on, like just the potential to do it another turn. Obviously this is wind based, but that's not so bad. I mean, we have a couple of wind decks that are coming out. Well, now they're coming out in January of next year, but you know, wind decks have been kind of on the up and up. So maybe this could be an interesting extender for them. Although I think most of the decks we've seen, like Lyrillus and Speedroids, have plenty of extenders from hand. So I don't know. This card's fine. Maybe it'll come up in a strategy down the line. I just saw the artwork. I really got excited for ninjas, but unfortunately it misses the mark on that. And then we get to the last card here. This is Penguin Sword. Can I start by saying the artwork on this is just phenomenal. This is amazing. I love it so much. Okay, this is obviously an equip spell, right? Penguin Sword. It can only be equipped to a penguin monster. That makes perfect sense. And you can only use the third effect once per turn. The first effect says gain 800 attack. Not bad. A lot of penguin monsters tend to be smaller, so that's definitely welcome. Second effect, when the equipped monster inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can return one card your opponent controls to the hand. Not too shabby. That means you could just like poke into something and just barely get some damage in and then bounce something else. I mean, obviously that takes kind of a more specific board setup, but still not too shabby. And the last effect, if a face-up card or cards your opponent controls leaves the field by the effect of a penguin card and is returned to the hand or banished, negate the effects of that card or cards, as well as the activated effects and effects on the field of monsters with the same original name until the end of the next turn. Very interesting. Okay, so essentially this is just like hitting your opponent with like the Called by the Grave clause. Like if you bounce something with one of your cards, you negate that, because maybe it has a clause, or if it's returned to the hand, if it leaves the field by card effect, if it whatever, you know what I mean, if it's banished and it's trying to trigger, it would negate that and then say they can't activate any activated effects on the field until the end of the next turn. So even if you're doing that and then it'd be their turn, if you bounce something, they might want to just use it again to be offensive and make a comeback. They can't use the effects of that card. That's not bad. I mean, like, is this card crazy? No. Definitely not crazy, but I do think it's interesting. It's not a bad equip, all things considered. I don't like that it's reliant on battle phase. I wish it was just like once per main phase if this is equipped to a penguin, like bounce a monster. That would be way better, right? Wouldn't require battle phase and to be able to inflict damage at any point. But it is what it is. It's fine. I don't think any of these cards are too crazy, but you know, the Animation Chronicle's already killing it. So, and I love Penguin support. Speaking of which, let's get into the actual Penguin support cards. Here we have 4 new cards from Burst of Destiny. Let's go. This is Penguin Champion. I'm so stoked about this. This is so cool. I made a video a while back talking about the Synchro monster that came out a couple of core sets ago. And I talked about it saying there's literally like 5 different penguin monster arts in this card. They should just make an archetype with like all of these being main deck monsters, or maybe an extra monster too in the strategy. And it looks like that's exactly what they're starting to do here. Let's do it. Penguin Champion, level 5 water aqua tuner effect monster, 1800 attack, 600 defense. You can only use the first and second effects of this card's name once per turn. He cannot be used for synchro material also, unless it's for the synchro summon of a water monster. All right. If a monster or monsters become set on your field, you can special summon this card from your hand, then you can decrease its level by 1 or 2. I'm assuming by it's talking about himself, because the monster would be set on the field. You can't change its level. So I'm assuming he can like modify his own level that way, which is good because the synchro for the archetype is level 5. So he would want to lower himself to like a level 3 tuner, because a lot of the archetype monsters end up being level 2. So that's how that would work. Also, second effect, you can target one face down defense position monster you control, change it to face up defense position, but its effects are negated unless it is a penguin monster. So even better, this gives you way extra speed by just allowing you to flip your stuff way faster. Normally penguins extra fall to the wayside because they're just too slow, especially going second. Setting a monster is just not good enough. So the fact that you could potentially set something, summon this guy, and then flip it up immediately to at least bait something out, or you know what I mean, challenge them that way, that adds a little more oomph to the deck for sure. Also, I wonder, this first effect, I wonder how this triggers. It says if a monster or monsters become set to your field, does that mean if you just set a monster from hand, he can summon himself? That's my main question, because if it has to wait for you to like flip something face up, face down, then I don't think it's very good. But if you can just like turn 1, set something, summon him, then we're really cooking. So hopefully that's how it works. It sounds kind of generic, but still, it's a decent tuner. Really decent tuner for sure. All right, next up we have Penguin Ninja. This is another one of the cards from the artwork that I thank you so much, Konami. I love you. I don't even care if these are poop. I love it. All right, he's a level 3 water aqua flip effect monster. It looks like they're steering away from like all level 2s, which is funny because they're aquas, so like totally awesome would be a thing. Anyway, this is 1400 attack, 700 defense, nothing crazy there. Second effect, hard once per turn. If he is flipped face up, he can target up to 2 spell or traps your opponent controls and return them to the hand. No. Why? Why do you have to bounce them? Now we do have the other penguin monster. I forgot what its name is, but when it's on the field, it's like if you would use a penguin effect to return your opponent's cards to hand, they're banished instead. So I guess we're going to be aiming to get that set up, especially with this guy, because bouncing monsters in can still be useful, especially like extra deck monsters. They just disappear. But this one specifically, you don't want them to get their spells and traps back, but fine. Second effect, you can target a penguin monster you control, change it to face down defense position. That's actually pretty nice for him. I mean, we have stuff like Penguin Soldier, but without one of the like spells and traps that can flip it back down, or a monster to flip it back down. it kind of loses its oomph. Like it's just one and done. Whereas this guy can just continually flip himself down, which is actually not bad. It makes his first effect way better because it means like if you flip him to bounce your opponent's back row, they don't see a reason to activate him. So like, fine, I'll just take him back to hand. I'll reset him. And you just flip him down. That means you could potentially just do this again. Or if you can quick effect trigger it on your opponent's end phase to bounce their back row. And then you just go into your turn without having to deal with those. So this does cycle turn after turn, which is nice. All right, and then next we have Penguin Priest. Level 3, Water Aqua, another card from the artwork, by the way, from the Synchro. 600 attack, 1700 defense. Actually, decent booty on this one. First effect is a hard once per turn. If a penguin monster or monsters is sent from your monster zone to your graveyard by an opponent's card, and then that includes battle or card effect, you can target one of those monsters, discard this card, and if you do, special summon that monster in face down defense position. Okay, I mean, I'm not crazy about that. I hate that it's so reliant on your opponent. If this could actually be almost more of a combo card, and it said if a penguin is just sent from monster zone to grave and not relying on your opponent to do it, and you could just like discard this to summon them back, I'd be like, yeah, that's actually a decent extender, right? You could make the synchro and immediately set another penguin. But unfortunately, it's not how it works, so it's fine. Second effect, once per turn, you can target a penguin monster you control. It gains 600 attack until the end of this turn. Also, you gain 600 life points. Well, that's actually pretty good in time. Just gain 600 life points. Cool. I like that he can use it on himself, even though 1200 still isn't doing much. But I guess it gives you the potential to deal a little bit extra damage. Penguins aren't very offensive, so that's fine. And then we finish up here with Royal Penguin's Garden. This is a continuous spell. You can only activate one card's name, one card with this card's name once per turn. When this card resolves, you can add one penguin card from your deck to the hand, except Royal Penguin's Garden. Ooh! Also, once per turn, you can reduce the level of a penguin monster in your hand or face-up field by 1 until the end of this turn, then discard one card. Interesting. Discard one card. Why would that? Okay. What I mean, fine. I mean, seriously. I mean, the second effect is whatever. I guess it could come up specifically if like you have a wonky hand that doesn't quite get to the synchro, but you were one level off, I guess. But the first effect is all you need to know, right? This is Rhoda. Penguins get a Rhoda. That's awesome. That's the best card here, apart from Penguin Champion being an actual legit good extender for them. Really, really cool. The other thing I just want to note here before we end the video, before I sum everything up, is there's still 2 more, I think at least 2, if not 3 other monsters that were in the artwork of the Synchro that aren't here. So we'll either get them in the next core set, or maybe Konami's holding off some of the cards from this set to reveal later on. So obviously we have a little more rounding out to do, which is awesome. And this is the only spell or trap, and it searches any penguin card, by the way. So I just assume there's going to be other spells and traps as well that could be searchable off this as well. So I am really excited for this. I don't even care if they don't seem that good. I know penguins aren't that good. They're just, I love the artwork. I love the lore behind it. Just fucking Penguin Ninja and Penguin Champion, just so good. They did great with the artwork. I love it. I seriously do. Last thing real quick, I might as well throw it out there, is TCG Battles of Legend this year is not Battles of Legend, it's Brothers of Legend, apparently. And it's mainly just talking about Karibo brothers, or the Karibo brothers, as well as the fact that, like, what is it? It's like Zane and Cyrus Truesdale are have support in the set. So brothers, cool. Whatever, it's fine. It looks like it's going to have most of the Animation Chronicle stuff, which is great. And also another Forbidden Droplet reprint. Cool. I love it. So yeah, I'm gonna end it off there, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, let me know in the comments down below, what do you think on these new penguin cards? Yes, I'm so excited. Let me know if you see any specific plays that are really cool, because I love penguins. I have a deck profile from what we had prior from a couple months ago, and I obviously plan on making another one come Burst of Destiny. So I'm stoked. I'm really stoked. But thanks again for watching. Subscribe if you haven't. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on that stuff, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.